Hello, Hoppin' John here. In my previous YouTube slide presentation, I said I was going to try to put a video together. So here it is, my first attempt at a video, and we'll see how it turns out. Basically what you're looking at is my photovoltaic system. We're here about 8:15 in the evening. Sun's pretty much going down. About any time this thing ought to reset and head back towards the east for a sunrise. But basically, I've got a little tracking system I made from a 10-foot satellite dish. Cut down everything out of it except the pivot point and the actuator system. And at the top of this thing, you can probably just barely see it's a little white cup that's been cut down. It's actually a PVC coupler. And I've got a little photovoltaic panel in it. Got it at Walmart. It's actually a yard light. But that's my shadow box. Basically what happens is that thing tries to keep a shadow over that photo panel so it doesn't produce electricity. But I gutted it out, put a little 3-volt relay in there so when the sun shines on it, it generates enough electricity to pull that relay in, which drives my actuator motor. And when the actuator motor moves the panels, it puts it back in the shade and the relay drops out. So works real well. It's real inexpensive. I probably got 10 bucks or less in it. And like I say, the panels seem to be putting out pretty good power. I'm getting about 5 amps a panel. We'll go inside and kind of look at how the system works on the controls here at another later date. The other things that I have is a windmill up here. It is actually a Fisher-Paykel washing machine motor. They are a 3-phase DC motor. I've rewound it to 24 volt. I peak out at about around 300 watts or so when I've got a good steady breeze on it. It's a little underpowered for the blades. I've got about a 6-foot blade pattern on it. In my area I don't get a lot of wind. That's heavy wind, so I've got a lot of blades, which isn't the most efficient, but it does a decent job for me. Okay, here we are inside. We're looking at the electrical hardware end of the photovoltaic system. Basically what we start with is a charge controller. This is a 24 volt, 24 amp. It will work on 12 volt as well. It's auto detecting. But it basically makes a decision of how much power we're getting from the photovoltaic system or the windmill, and then charges the batteries, keeps them conditioned to where they're supposed to be. It also shuts off the load if the batteries get too low. Picked it up off eBay, around 75 bucks. The only thing I didn't really like about it was it seemed to run kind of hot whenever the batteries got pretty full. So I put a little CPU fan on the side of it to kind of help it out, to give it a little bit of life. So, but other than that, it's worked real well. Seems to condition the batteries and control the load real well. The next little piece on this is this little plug-and-play inverter. I actually saw it on a YouTube video. I believe it's Green Power Energy or something like that. Rojas, I believe, is the guy's name, but it seems to be a real professional guy. He actually tested one of these on there and kind of showed how it worked and all. So went on the hunt for one, found it on eBay. Not too bad a price. It's around, I picked it up on an auction, about $270. If you compare that to the big boys that are out there playing, the 2,000 or 3,000 watt units that are, $2,000 or $3,000. This little thing, 270 bucks. It's rated at 200 watts. It'll do 250 max. It's completely automatic, self-detecting. It is an island style inverter, which means that when you lose primary power, in this case 120 volts, it shuts down, so that if your utility shuts down, it doesn't feed power back into it and shock somebody. So does real well. Operates from 14 volts to 30 volts. So the only catch is this won't work on a 12 volt system. It's just insufficient voltage for it. But it works real well for what I'm using it for. The system seems to be putting out about 230 watts continuously. I'm seeing about 4.5 kW a day off of this setup right here. Right now we're running off the batteries because the sun has gone down. and whenever it expires the batteries, this charge controller will shut it off. What I've got for storage is a set of golf cart batteries down here, and they are 8-volt apiece, which is kind of a rarity. But the newer style golf carts are running 8 volts instead of 6. But I've got 6 of these little critters. I was in a 48-volt golf cart. I've got 3 of them series together, and then another set that are series together, and then those 2 sets are paralleled, so that I have a 24-volt system. This should get somewhere in the neighborhood of about 340 amps of storage. I picked these up used. They're a couple years old. They were on some kind of service agreement. Picked them up for about $100. I thought that was pretty much a steal. It was just darn near what the core price was on them. The other little part of this thing is my kilowatt meter, so I can actually track how much power is being pumped back into the grid. I'm planning on expanding this system as money permits. Some more panels, another inverter, and I may even go with a trace style inverter that is actually powering the house. But this was the most economical way to get started. Been looking at these systems for a couple of years. I've been playing with the windmill for probably 3 or 4 years. The other intricate part of this is the tracking system. Like I was saying outside, it is very basic. Let me grab what I got over here. That's from Walmart, but basically what I've got here is a yard light. They're like $4 here at my local Walmart. It's got a little photovoltaic panel in the top of it and an LED in the bottom of it. And basically what I did is I gutted out the insides of this thing and put a little 3-volt relay inside of it, so that when the sun produces power, it energizes that 3-volt relay, which in turn pulls in my west run relay here. And when it gets back into the shadow of the sun, or the cup that's on the little photovoltaic panel, the relay drops out and it stops moving. But works real well. It's real cheap. I probably got less than $10 in this little thing. At the end of the day, as what we saw on the previous video, the panels were resetting. I've got a little 120 volt 24-hour timer up here, and that's the only thing that I don't have running on 24 volts. So I would like to, come up with a dusk to dawn type sensor that would run off 24 volt here before long. I like to get rid of the 120 volt setup. But basically what happens is about 8:15 at night, the timer kicks in a relay, and it causes the panels to reset back to the east in the morning and to pick up the sun when it comes up. Works real well. Like I say, it first attempt right out of the hole with it, and it took right off. Hadn't had to tweak it or anything. So really pleased with its performance. And again, like I say, I'm getting about 4.5 kW out of this thing. And again, I'd like to expand it, but kind of how our economy is. We spend the money that we have, and we don't spend the money we don't have. So thanks for watching. I'll try to post some more videos a little bit later.